Okay, I think we'll perhaps start then, Graham. So we'll just watch for other people joining and let those in. So yeah, we'll get going. So morning everyone. As I said, Rob Burrell, Graham Fern from Axon here. So this is week 4 of this current series of webinars. So we've a series of 6, so 2 weeks to go after today. So just a quick recap. We've covered so far the virtual office, everything you need to consider for long-term or permanent home working, due to obviously recent changes, as we're all aware. So recent data is suggesting actually that small, medium-sized businesses, about 40% of staff are going to be fully returned to the office by September. So I'd love your views and opinions on that, everyone. The last 2 weeks we've covered Microsoft Teams, so communication and collaboration, and today we're talking about Power Apps, automation and integration. Next week we're going to cover Microsoft Dynamics, and then we're going to wrap up week 6, so 2 weeks from now, with perhaps the most important topic, certainly to me, in security. So we'll discuss those ever-increasing threats out there from the bad guys, the dark web, etc., and how you can better protect yourselves. We'll show you some best practice there. So I'll hand over to Graham for today. As usual, if you want to ask any questions, if you can stay on mute, but you're welcome to raise a hand or ask us a question. Put a comment in the chat window. So if you hover down to the bottom of your screen, you'll get a taskbar pop up where you can raise a hand or put something in the chat window. I've started that off, so feel free to do so. Thanks, and over to you, Graham.
Thanks, Rob. Morning, everyone. Thank you for joining on a now nice sunny day, not rain, as we now perhaps get to the end of our imprisonment. So pleasant, hopefully, weekend ahead. So thank you for this. As I said, I'm going to be focusing today on integration is the word I'm going to use. And this really is probably levering the power of the product that perhaps most of you already have. And those that perhaps don't have Office 365 or the Microsoft Cloud, it really is probably the bringing together, the integration. And a kind of simple analogy I can use with everyone at this point in time is smartphones are very popular. I think we've figured that out. Yet, ironically, I could probably go and get a far superior camera, SLR camera, or probably get a far superior note-taking tool or whatever you want to think of. But the integration of a smartphone, a mobile phone today is pretty phenomenal, to be frank, and therefore makes it very popular. So that integration piece is an interesting conversation, despite the fact that if we took things in isolation and standalone, you could probably find better individual items. Okay, so as I have said on previous weeks, everything we talk about here is a Venn diagram of information. So all of these overlap. I will effectively be bits of this. You go, well, you told me that last week or the week before, and that is by design and cannot be avoided on the nature of integration. There must be some overlap, hence my nice little diagram of a Venn diagram. So, yep, we're going to talk about this. That's what the focus is on, integration. It is a big subject, and as I would say, as a business manager, business owner, decision maker, there will be a lot of takeaway items from here. Arguably, some of the stuff I'm going to show you is actually possible for you to do on your own, yet there are some features of this that extend very much into seeking help from a technical service provider, someone like ourselves, etc., in order to lever the most out of it. Okay, so as ever, everything's going to be very much real, and we're going to look at this in the real world. And I will be using, no surprise, I'm going to turn my video off now because you all know what I look like, and it's just another unnecessary stream. So I'm going to turn my video off at this point. Okay, so what we have here in front of you, and you should all see what is Office 365 and the primary web portal. Now, some of you might be sharp-eyed enough to notice that that doesn't look the same perhaps as yours does today. It has had a very recent update, an upgrade, shall we say, and this is the new look and feel. I choose to have it in dark mode, but so therefore it's got a black background as opposed to a white one. So don't get concerned on it. It is coming to everyone depending on the settings within your Office 365 system as to when you get it, but this is the new look and feel. Okay, so let's just say right here and right now that every icon that you see in there is the sum of the parts. That is Office 365. And that, in my analogy before about a mobile phone having all the applications, all the hardware within it to make it the smart device. So Office 365 is all of these things you see on the screen, and every one of those items is integrated. Now, we just take it for granted, like we take a smartphone for granted, and the fact that I can click a picture and then it's on my laptop or my iPad and it's just everywhere. So the integration we take for granted, but all of those products that we look at here are tightly integrated. But I'm going to talk about some of the ones that are very quick wins and get you to lever more of the products that you have. So I'm going to start straight away with good old boring email. Okay. And so here's my email, and most people never really look at this, and you might not see this today. So I'm showing you something that is coming to some of you in the next days or weeks, and it is that soon. And there is an icon at the top here, top right hand side, which is my day, which is also shown down here, but called to do. And the reason why they're slightly different is this icon here slides out a calendar and to do. So here's this meeting we're in, which allows me to obviously join, but no point I'm in it. But you can see that means I don't have to open a calendar separately. I also have at the top my to-do list. Okay, stuff I need to do. Okay, why is that so good integration-wise? Well, let me just explain. Because down here and the three dots, I have to do, which will deliberately go and take me to just this product. Okay, with the list of things I have to do. Now, where these come from is the bit that's important about integration, not the fact that this is a to-do list. Okay, it's actually where they come from. And you'll notice there's one in here. These are tasks I have set myself, but I have had ones that people have given to me. And where have these come from? Okay, and I can see that these are in a product called Planner. Okay, and I can move around these. I can see stuff that's overdue, okay, etc. I've got stuff that's flagged as important. I've got stuff I've chosen I need to do today. Okay, so this is now a central repository of my things to do. But where do they come from? Not only just my input, but they also come from a product called Planner. Okay, so if we come into here, I can actually just type Planner in here if I wish. There it is. The icon is here as well. Okay, so either way. And I have talked about Planner at previous times, but the point I want to bring up is that anything that comes into Planner, okay, so I've got a technical board here with a list of things to do, and things that are assigned to me from other people within the business, or I assign to them, because there's multiple people, this information is feeding into their assigned to you. So Planner, which is, as its name suggests, a planning tool, actually feeds into the end user by feeding into their tasks and assignments, which are visible in Outlook, in its own application. And in fact, there is even a standalone desktop application as well. So again, I've got my assigned to you, same list. Okay, I can come in here and obviously just complete something, gone, disappears off my list, and will, depending on where that is, mark that as complete, maybe in Planner, etc. Okay, we want to talk further integration at this point here. Then, of course, we know that we've got mobile phones. So I'm going to do as I've done on previous times. I'm going to share, sorry, just an update there, but I don't want that at the moment. And I've got Microsoft To Do at the top. Same list, same choices, okay? Same list, okay? To which I can click on these, see where they come, and it even gives me an option to open this in Planner because that's where it came from. Okay, so as a business, what I'm really going to say here is by using the tools that you have available to you, you can create a workflow and ensure that it's pretty transparent around the business as to who is doing what and where. So it's all tightly integrated, freely available to everyone. Now let's take that whole Planner thing another step further and let's bring Microsoft Teams into this. And I'm going to bring the chat window where we're running this from. So apologies, it's going to get a little busy for a moment. I'm going to go to a team. I'm going to go to my team here. And well, what I can actually do is I can embed a planner into here. So I have existing plans. Okay, so I can use one that's perhaps already pre-existing and embed it if I so wish. Okay, or I can create my own new plan. Okay, which could be Graham Fern's planner list. Okay. And save that. That goes and builds a planner for me. There we go. That didn't take long. And now I can start building tasks, assign it to someone, and add it. That's now going to be in my to-do list, which is now on my smartphone. But it started in Teams. It's visible to maybe everyone who's in the team. So we now can integrate a single item across all the platforms you might use, mobile phones, tablets, computers. We can embed it, an application effectively within an application. Okay, so we can make this very feature rich. So what you saw me do there was add an integration into Teams. All of these squares in here are further integrations. So I might want to put a questionnaire in for a team. Okay, I want to create a workflow. Okay, this one is just pre-built. I'm just going to go through this so we can see. Okay, save. And this is just a daily health check. I mean, I've just done that live. Put a stopwatch on me. How long did that take? I'm not going to say that's completely right. You could go and edit this. It's very easy to edit in Forms. Okay, and now I've got myself a pretty good, simple form which will log everything into Teams. Yeah, that product stands on its own. Okay, and the easiest way to gain is to type in the top Forms. There it is. Stands on its own product. And I can build my forms from here and embed those. There you go. There's one, the one I've just built. It is that simple. So again, just as a very simple recap here, the integration of products, of Microsoft products within the system is pretty powerful. But what happens if I don't want to use Microsoft Forms? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose website this time. Okay, and I need a web link to get to this. So what I'm going to do is just bring up a web link from another form. Okay, and I'm going to go back to Teams. So I've just copied that web address. The URL is the techie name. There we go. Now I've brought an electronic online form from a third-party system, not within the Microsoft ecosystem, and embedded it into here, to which obviously I can go ahead and fill in and go and do all the stuff I need to do. Yeah. And off it would go. and do as it says. And just put something in so you can see. Yeah, and off it goes. And I fill in everything and then save it, job done. So these tabs across the top make Teams very, very integrated, very feature rich. We can take YouTube videos. I mean, as you can see, the list of this is going to go probably pretty ridiculous. So I'll just so we can see something, I'm going to go to the one I did last week. I'm going to get the share code out of here, copy it off YouTube. I'm going to come back to Teams. I'm going to paste that in here. I'm going to search it, finds it, saves it, done it. Press play. Off goes last week's webinar. Okay. So you can do this in any team, in any channel within Teams. For those that were on the previous weeks, this should make sense. So my integration here across I think is pretty good. I've embedded here basically Twitter, but it's a particular part of Twitter that is feeding cybersecurity information to people, what's happening, just again shows what you can bring in. Nothing to do with Microsoft, clearly, but of course there are a whole load of things. We've got a chat facility. I can build that into here, not a Microsoft product. So this little plus key here exposes a lot of third-party products, and they are called integrations and tabs, and that's what you're looking at. It says add a tab. At the very worst, if there isn't one and it's web-based, you can just put it as a web form, as you saw me do. Okay, we can go a next level higher and actually click on these three dots, and there are things called connectors. And as connectors probably infers, it is connecting to something. Okay, and this is kind of big information because I want to bring an entire system per se into it. This is getting a little kind of techie, but please, follow this through. So for example, I could integrate Salesforce into here. Okay, so if I use Salesforce and I use Teams, I could bring Salesforce into Teams. And maybe my teams are broken down into subject matters that make sense to how Salesforce is configured. Okay, so there is a whole load in here. Okay, very much all big stuff. And just this top one, which again, I apologize, it is technical, but I just want your understanding here. Forget the technical name, but what this is it allows someone like Axon to actually build a process to something that isn't listed in here. So you can integrate using this, so it says sends data. So you can move data to and from Office 365 in real time. I can actually show you some of that working in a moment. Okay, so it's powerful. And to prove this, I have embedded in here a connection to Dynamics 365. We're talking about that, I think, next week. Okay, so it's a CRM system, but it's a Microsoft one. Okay, and I'm bringing in the information from there. Okay, so this is our account, and that is actually from a different system outside of Teams, but within the Microsoft Office 365 system potentially. Okay, so integration in Teams of all the products you've seen is pretty powerful. So just a deep breath here. We go back to the beginning, and I basically said you have all of these icons. Pretty much all of these are tightly integrated by default, but they can then be brought together at your whim into the likes of Teams. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's just see how some of this actually translates into real world. So I'm just going to go back over to my posts. And you can see I've added all of these things in. It's just telling everyone. Okay. And information is posted. But what I want to just show you is how we're using some of this tight integration. So hopefully it will make sense. We're using automation to keep an eye on all the cases that people logged, and it's been done by a machine, and it's telling us, something has come in, it's been there for 17 minutes, needs to be looked at, and the system is monitoring all the timings for us. Not a human, a machine is monitoring all the timings. So we don't have to, okay? I'll give you something more general. We've got here orders coming in and out of the system. Again, a machine. We also have people's holidays are in here, okay? So the system is posting information about what is happening in our business through automation, okay? Using the integration that is available within there. I am not going to lie and pretend that all of this just happens in a click of your fingers. No, the purpose of this conversation is for those people in the position within their business to realize the fact that you can increase your efficiency by you analyzing your business and asking the question of what could I integrate and automate in order to make those efficiencies, because the system definitely supports it. Yes, you might need additional help, but I'm now going to show you the fact that actually some of this technically can be done by yourself. Okay, so what does that look like? Well, it's this product here called Power Automate. Okay, I have a tab open for that already. Okay, so I'm just going to show you a few things. So Power Automate then, what is this? Let me just go to the home page. Every user inside Office 365 has access to this. Now, in some respects, that maybe is a little, scary, but every user is given the facility to use this product. It's not the reserve of technical people, even though I'm not going to deny the fact that probably 80% of users of a system don't have the technical skills to probably use this. Now, this is obviously a commercial grade version. If you, as a consumer, there are products out there free to use online. There's one called IFTTT, which is a if this then that product, and is very useful for those people that perhaps have smart homes, have smart lights and various other bits and pieces that you can have today, because what it will do is join it all together and create automation and integrate all those systems that are actually, one's made by Philips, another's made by another manufacturer, Amazon, whatever, bring them all together. And that's what this is. So it has a whole load of templates. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to click on just to show you. All right. Receive a weekly email summary of new Dynamics, your CRM system opportunities. Okay. Receive that if I've got Salesforce. So again, not just Microsoft. And I literally can click on this button. It will now ask me to check I have all the permissions. I've got green ticks. Click continue. Okay. It's pretty scary. I'm not going to lie. Okay. But it's all been written for you. Click save. It's kind of done. I mean, that's a little bit, I'm pushing the boat out there because there'll be bits that might need to be just tweaked. But my point is that has been done for you. And it is an if this, then that. So when this occurs, do something. Okay. And you can probably see some of it there. Okay. So you literally can build yourself straight from templates. Or you can say, I want to start with a product. I mean, Twitter, that's not owned by Microsoft. So there's a whole load. Google Calendar, heck, that's a competitor. But let's just start with something that's fairly obvious. Okay. So now what I can do is go product specific. Okay. Get a push notification when I get an email from my boss. Start an approval process when someone adds a new item into SharePoint, which would actually be a file that could be in Teams. Okay. So there are thousands of templates. And again, click, checks, things green ticks, create. Again, I'm making it, well, it is simple. I'm making it sound simple. I'm not going to deny, and I will keep saying it, that there can be bits where you need to have it just tweaked in order to work. Okay. And you can see says, gets my profile. So what it does here, it checks my email, goes to my Office 365 profile, reads my profile, reads who my manager is, check if the email is my manager. If it's from them, then send a notification to my phone. If it isn't, don't. Okay. So, and that would just come on your smartphone like any notification, like you get a text message or something of that nature. Okay. Pretty straightforward in a sense. So lots of nice stuff in here. This product builds ridiculously. So let me just go and show you something realistic. See if I've got that. Yeah. Sorry, just bear with me. I'm going to swap over to something. It doesn't matter what I've swapped over to. All right. Sorry about this. I've just got to get the right environment in order to show you. Okay, so we've got all sorts of processes that are running. Okay, now one of those processes I want to point out to you is actually we have an output that comes from our phone system. And that phone system produces a comma-separated value file. Okay, just want to find the file. So there's a whole load in here. And what it does is as it comes in, this reads the file, the comma-separated file, which is effectively an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, it processes that, does it every hour. And what it then does is then pushes that into a Power BI dashboard. So what we have here is real-time information on time to answers, count of calls, all of the statistics that we might want to have. And it's just displayed in a screen, which is web-based, which I could put it on a big screen in an office. I could put it wherever I want. Okay. I could put it in a SharePoint site. I could put it on a tab inside Power BI again, because guess what? Power BI is an option. So this integration and automation piece is a very big discussion. I hope you would appreciate. Okay, so I think that's all I can really say on Power Automate at this point in time, apart from to say that it is a very useful product. Everyone is given access to it. It is powerful. It probably needs assistance at some point in order to get the most out of it. But ultimately, you can sit down here and you can go and learn it yourself. Okay, it's all there. And arguably, anybody can do this. Videos, everything to watch if you so wish. What I will say for those that perhaps think they've got bigger, grander choices, there is a even bigger grown-up version of this called Logic App, which is incredibly powerful, designed for moving data in the back end behind users, as it were, between systems, almost like the ability to translate from English to German or from English to French and French to German. It's effectively a translator between systems as well. Okay, right. Kind of deep breath on here because, you know, time's whizzing away quickly, and it is a big subject. I'm going to take a step back. So we've talked about all these products. We've talked about Power Automate and bringing it together. We've talked about Teams and bringing it together. And arguably, you can use all of those products to make something truly efficient and integrated by using Power Automate, these applications, your data, and presenting it somewhere. Teams would be a classic example, and making something pretty slick. Okay, so what happens if you want to take it another step further? Because there is something called Power Applications. And what this does is allow you to build applications. What that means is like a web page or a mobile application, again from templates, okay, which can pull data from your systems and follow a flow of required business needs. So this is off a template. I'm not going to claim any kind of credit for this, but it has pulled all my Office 365 information. It would have to be edited, obviously, but you can see the logic in here for an onboarding process. Someone new in the business, boom, boom, boom. They've got to do all of this on day one. They've got to go through all of these, and then maybe there's your handbooks and all the various things within your business. Okay, and you can build out of this the team. See, notice it's brought up all of my information. I've not populated any of this. It's just brought it up because it knows it from Office 365. I work with Rob Burrell. Hello, Rob. So you can see these are all the people I work with. Yes, there's errors up here because this is just a demo. So I'm not going to go any more on this product, but to say it exists at this point in time, because this one definitely is a little technical. It would be about a business wanting something to integrate into their business flow. Okay, so we've got Power Apps, we've got Power Automate. Okay, and both those products will bring together any data from any system to give you something integrated that you could present to your staff in almost any manner. Okay, so let's just talk about another integration very quickly because I've already talked about it. We go back to our good old Teams. Okay, and I did show this last time, but as a big picture integration piece, I've got my phone system in here. So I can make phone calls, okay, straight from here. I have a telephone number that you can call me on and dial in. So this is my phone system. So what I'm talking to you on now is what I use for everything to make any audio call to any device on the planet. Not only just a Teams call like we're doing now, but I could make a phone call to Australia to someone's mobile phone from here. Okay, so again, tight integration. Let's just take a little think about this. I could be in Teams where I have all my information that I have in here, all of this stuff I've showed you, okay, all of my lists, all of that stuff I've shown you, okay, and it's where I make my phone calls from. I don't know if I could get tighter integration. Now, what we will have to accept, as I said at the beginning, the beauty of your mobile phone is its integration of lots of systems, but that does not take away from the fact that I could probably go and buy a better camera than the camera lens that's in my smartphone. So there are limits, but nevertheless, the integration is tight. Okay, so kind of getting towards the end of this set here, but what I just would like to just do is I'm going to go to Planner here, and if I just to show you, so this is one I kind of have set up earlier, okay, and behind this there is a flow, okay, so there is a Microsoft flow. Make sure I get to the right one, and it's this one here: post message to Microsoft Teams when a new task is created in Planner. Okay, so there is a Power Automate flow to join Planner and Teams together in order to ensure people are notified or aware of what's going on, maybe as an example. So I'm just going to put in here, I can't even spell this morning. I don't know what's happened to me. Okay, I'm going to assign it to myself. I'm the only person in this one. Set a due date. Okay, I can add that task. Those that have not seen this, I can go through all of the other things that I might want to set in here, but I'm not going to. Okay, so I've added that task. Great. Let's go to Teams. Let's go to Posts. Okay, and what will happen, he says, get into the right area, is going to now post a message in here. It could take a few minutes, okay, and it will throw in a post for me, okay, and this can be as detailed as you want, and this is me just doing a test in here, and this is basically kind of someone logging a fault ticket, okay, so the whole thing is all tied together, so it started in one but ended up in another, and what you do in there you go, it's arrived, okay, and it has now posted that in there. Now, how it's formatted and how it looks, that's all customizable, of course. As I've said, that was automated. It said that I've posted it because it's my flow. But as you've seen, as we were looking before, that actually you can have effectively it monitored by a machine, as it were, and posted by a machine. Okay, so it doesn't have to just come from a person. And again, you can see all of this automation kicking off here. So just a simple example of bringing these products together into one. Okay, let's just take that all the way back because I appreciate lots going on here. So we have all of these products. The ones that probably interest us is Power Apps, I beg your pardon, okay, which allows you to build web-based applications. And then we have Power Automate, which allows you to link your applications and files and data together. When you've done either of these options, depending on need, is then you're going to choose where that information then gets displayed. I think for most people today, that's going to end up being on Teams. Now, I have shown this before, but this does not preclude the fact you can only do this on a desktop computer, far from it. So again, I will bring up my computer screen on my phone. And what I want to bring out is Power Automate at the bottom right. And you will notice in here, okay, and you can see up the top there, get a push notification from your boss, post a message from Microsoft Teams when it was created, etc. Okay, I can have approval processes in here. I don't have any of those, but they can be built in. So someone who's an approver might be on the road, but they can still approve things, check things out. I can, believe it or not, even from my smartphone, build all of these up. So I'm sat bored one day. And here's an example of something realistic I've built for myself. I want to track time. We have a CRM system. I'm not always easily accessible to get at the CRM system if I'm out and about, or I just happen to take a phone call, but I want to log that time. So I just built myself a very simple flow that says, what was it about? How long did it take? Yeah. And what account was it related to? And that will just post it straight into our dynamic system for me to then deal with, go into my list of activities and stuff that I can then tidy up at a later date. So I've just made a nice big button there. I can just prod at and off I go. And again, you can see all of these are all in here, even on a smartphone, terrifyingly, really, considering the power of what we're looking at there. Not in a bad way, but just incredible, the power that's made available to us, even on a smartphone. Of course, I don't need to bring it up, but that would apply to a tablet. Okay, so if I had an iPad or something similar of that nature, I can also bring that into play as well. Okay, my last conversation really now is just going to talk about what can be done outside of the Office 365 user interface that you see. And you might have heard of a product called Microsoft Azure. I'm not going to lie, this isn't a place where as a user of the system you would find yourself. This definitely is technical at this point, but offers the true power of integration for a business. I'll just mention for now Logic Apps, okay, because Logic App is effectively the very powerful version of Power Automate. Okay, so in here are basically powerful versions of what you've seen before. I'm not going to go into any frightening detail, apart from to say that when I open this page up here, okay, this is a very simple one, but this is happening, not created by Graham Fern or Bob or Sam. This is at the business level, sitting right at the top level. So this could be monitoring shared mailboxes, and then what it does is it performs an action. But if it's got to integrate some third-party system that you may have, maybe you've got an HR system that's out there and you want to get data out of it, well, this is when you bring a true nerdy person in, and they then create connections to all the systems, and they bring all the data in, and then they squirt all the data out. So what I'm really saying to you here in this page that would make no sense to most people, I appreciate, is that you need to understand that there is the power of cloud computing that can almost glue any number of systems together and make them talk. Clearly, there has to be a value in that, because of course this isn't going to cost nothing, but if it offers the benefit of efficiency, it would be something that you would consider. So just a screenshot, that's all it is, just to say it exists, it's there, and no business owner, no manager, no decision maker should just think what I've shown you at the beginning there is the only route to joining things together. Okay, as I said at the beginning, this is a topic that is not perhaps the most, it is quite technical, so it's not perhaps the easiest and most palatable. What I'm going to just summarize in saying is that if any business person on this call who knows their business and knows how everything goes from A to B to C to D to E, and that journey of your information, and can see pitfalls or see inefficiencies because of manual processes, there should be a question asked is, can they be automated? Okay, in my opinion, particularly if they're repeatable. Clearly, if they're non-repeatable processes, a computer isn't going to help you at all. But if they are repeatable and just done day in, day out, or you want real time, you should ask those questions. And if anyone on here thinks that that's of benefit, you should map that out in a flow diagram on a piece of paper, it doesn't matter, and then engage with someone technical. Now, for most of you, if you've worked with Axon, you're probably going to come to us, and we will then be able to tell you what's possible, what can be done. Okay, how far that journey is and what benefits are, that is obviously dependent on the scenario that we're faced with. But personally, we've spent quite a lot of time doing this, and we now have quite a bit of automation. Do we have all the automation that we'd like to have? No, but we literally every day of every week continue to look at using these products. We've already paid for them. The only thing you're paying for potentially is the time to have it built. And now your return on any investment is only for that, because you've already got the license, you already paid for it. So it really is a probably low cost to market choice for you. Okay, I think at this point, I always aim to keep it around 45 minutes or so. So we're coming up to that point in time.